Hello and welcome, witches, to Spellbound.witchslair. Today we're doing a blockbuster since it's the new moon, and this new moon is called the Beaver Moon. It's when the little beavers would be making their dams for winter and gathering and just getting ready for the cold. So we're going to be making a blockbuster powder, then a blockbuster oil, and then we'll be doing a blockbuster ritual. If you're looking for a road opener, we did that one a few videos back, so please check out my other videos for that one. And some of you may be going, well, what's the difference between a road opener and a blockbuster? Well, a road opener is when you have a road that you're traveling on. Say you just keep getting a flat tire or running out of gas, or the road goes under construction and everybody's at a standstill. So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like you have a job, but you keep running into obstacles. It's absolutely a dead-end job. There's no room for growth monetarily or with title, and every time there's a potential for promotion, someone else seems to get it. That's what you would use a road opener for, to open up the blocks on your existing road or to potentially create some new roads for you. What you would use a blockbuster for is when, say, you live in the wilderness and there's absolutely no way to get to you other than by maybe helicopter. No jobs, no nothing. So you would do the blockbuster to ask the universe to blow a hole and create a path. Now, it might not be a huge path, but it's going to be something whereas you had nothing before. So a blockbuster is going to create something just for you. And it could be something as simple as, you live in the wilderness and you like to crochet blankets, and all of a sudden you do this spell and everybody and their brother wants to buy a blanket from you, and they're willing to pay a helicopter to fly in and get it from you. That's what I'm talking about. That's what a blockbuster is for. It creates opportunities for you that were not there before. Okay? All right. Now, what you're going to need for this spell is a white candle, a black candle, a red candle, some paper for your petition, a pen to write on your paper, and something to carve your candles. Bare minimum for herbs, which is if you don't have anything or don't have access to anything, intention is magic. And witches can create without herbs, oils, rituals, just by intentions alone. So don't forget that, okay? You are magic and you can create without the aid of anything. If all you've got is black pepper and salt, use black pepper and salt, okay? So work with what you've got. Now, remember, I have a shop, so I have lots of stuff, and I use lots of ingredients just because I like to keep my supplies fresh, so I'll use them to make room for new. I do forage a lot. I happened to actually find today, because I was concerned, I was like, where am I going to get some pine? Well, looky there. Not only did the universe answer and give me the pine, the juniper berries, they also gave me the instant dried ones with some dried up juniper berries. Because when you're making a powder and you're going to be adding it to an oil, you want to use dried ingredients. If you don't use dried ingredients, your oil can go rancid pretty quickly, okay? All right. So what you're going to need? You're going to need a black candle, a white candle, a red candle. You're going to need a piece of paper, a pen to write on your paper, something to carve your candles with, and the basics, bare minimum ingredients. Remember, witches, if you've got nothing, you're a witch, you're magic. You have your intention. You can create with your intentions alone. So don't ever forget that. If you're in a pinch, your intentions can make it happen. It's called chaos magic, and it works. It really does. I can do a video about that later. But yeah, but the basics I'm going to go through. There's like 17 ingredients I'm going to go through because I like to do my own spells. And like I said, I have my own shop. So I like to use my product so that I can get more and keep fresh. But the basics you're going to want for your spell, let's see, would be the 5-finger grass, which I don't have. I'm using clover. Pine, which I just found. But if you don't have, you can use rosemary, cinnamon, bay leaves, basil, and vetiver. And if you don't have that, you can use patchouli or sandalwood, lemon peel, pepper, and your candle. And you don't have to have all 3 candles. Like I said, use what you've got. And pinch, use what you've got. But I'm going to list the 17 ingredients that are common in blockbusters. I'm not going to use all 17, but I also am going to give you the substitutes in case you don't have those. And then, like I said, you can use the bare minimum that I just told you about. So the first would be Hombre Camino. I thought that was just Spanish for a road opener, but no, it's actually an herb. And it is for removing obstacles, opening paths, for prosperity and success. If you don't have it, like I don't, you could substitute with chicory root, lemon verbena, lemon peel, or acai bark. I'm not sure what acai bark is, but earlier I zested a lemon, dried it out, and I picked my clover out of the yard and I dried it out. Also, so I'm going to use clover and lemon as or lemon for Ebre Camino. Then we have pine. If you don't have pine, you can substitute with the juniper berries, rue, or rosemary. And it's for purification, protection, cleansing. It helps get rid of stagnant energies. Cinnamon. I really don't know of a substitute for cinnamon, but you want it for its fiery energy. It helps speed up your works, and it's good to burst through blocks, adding some quickness to your spell. Plus, it's good for protection, a little bit of love. Then we have our bay leaves, which are amplifiers, and amplifies our intentions, helps manifest our desires. We have basil, which is good for protection and cleansing. We get the vetiver, which removes obstacles and clears new paths. If you don't have it, you can use patchouli, sandalwood, frankincense, or copal. Lemon balm. Again, if you don't have it, you can use lemon and peel. But that's attracts positive outcomes, cleansing, helps you remain emotionally balanced. We have rue, which is good for protection, warding off the evil eye, releases negative energy, and breaks spells. Can substitute for rosemary, nettles, basil, mugwort, bay leaves, dragon's blood, frankincense, or just plain salt witches. Like I said, use what you've got. You're a witch. Then we got black pepper and or cayenne pepper, which will add more fire, which also dispenses negative energy and helps break through blocks. We've got sage for protection. It drives out negative energy. We have hyssop, is a spiritual purification. Helps purge negative energies. You can substitute with rosemary, sage, or lavender. Cedar, again, it's good for strength, courage, cleansing stagnant energies. You can substitute with sandalwood, rosemary, or juniper berries. Angelic root is good for protection and healing. I'm not using it. Cloves is good for exorcisms, protection, keeping negative energies away. 5-fingered grass or cinquefoil. I'm not even sure what it is. I know it's a plant. It's good for power and protection and success. But I found that you could substitute clover or rosemary. So like I said, I went out and I picked my rosemary. I dried my rosemary. And we're going to be using that. You can use a cassia bark, which is also a powerful uncrossing and jinx breaking bark. I'm not sure what that is. You can use calamus root, wormwood to substitute for that. Copal and frankincense are good for purifying brain fog. Sulfur, and then hair or nails or something for the person that you are wanting to help break the blockages for. If you have something to help personalize it more than just writing on a petition their name, their date of birth, and what you want to do. If you have something to tie them to it, like hair from their hairbrush or whatever, you can use that. Okay, so I am adding the dried ingredients to my mortar and pedestal. I also want to say I use a few other things that you might not find in Blockbusters. For example, I'm using the sulfur, which that's not normally in a Blockbuster, but I have it, so I'm going to use it. Just remember, when dealing with any powder, it can be an irritant to your throat, your eyes, so on and so forth. So be very careful. Make sure when you are foraging, you know, for plants, that you think the plant, and like ask permission, you know, like I asked permission from the tree. These are my little dried up clovers. And my dried up lemon. And I'm not using a whole lot because I'm not making a big old mess. Now, normally when you're making an oil, you will let it sit for a couple of weeks in a nice, dark, cool place. And you'll shake it every day. But you can use it instantly. You know, we will be today. And that's all right too. It's just it will get stronger the longer it's allowed to sit. So far I've added the juniper berries, the pine, the lemon zest. Oop, I'm gonna add that last. The lemon zest, the rue. I've got some vetiver. And I'm just putting them out of the way as I'm using them. I got mugwort. And be careful with some things like mugwort. If you use alum, A-L-U-M powder, those can be hallucinogenic. So, you know, wear gloves if you don't want the dreams. Also, you know, I'm going to be using some of Seals of Solomon. Now, we aren't going to even go into any of that, just because those are whole videos on their own. It's very common, though, in hoodoo and voodoo to use the Seals of Solomon. But like I said, I'm not going to just randomly show you the seals I'm using, because in case somebody wants to use them and they don't exactly know why or what they're dealing with. And I'd rather, you know, not until you learn more about them. Ooh, a lot of pepper, a lot of fire in that one. Also, for my carrier oil, when I get to that, I'm using grapeseed oil. That's, like I said, when I get to it. Not there yet. And of course, after you've let your oil sit for a couple of weeks, you're going to want to strain it, like through a coffee filter. All right. Also, I'm going to use a couple of crystals for amplifiers. I've got quartz crystals. They're great amplifiers. And I'm also going to use a little bit of myrrh, a little frankincense. I mean, I use a little bit of everything. I have it. I need to keep my supplies fresh, so why not use it? All right, so I've added several of the ingredients we've talked about. Now, when you're doing road openers or blockbusters, you're going to want to grind counterclockwise, just like when you use your incense to purify. You're going to want to do it counterclockwise. You're undoing and removing, and remember, use your intention. Now, I intend to open up some blocks. I intend to undo what's ever blocking me. Now, if you have an old-timey grinder, They're fun to use. Not a prerequisite. I like to use this when I have bigger herbs because this just helps break them up. Okay. Now I'm going to add to my bottle. I know. I probably need to add some oil first. That's perfectly fine. Again, I'm using grapeseed oil. If you don't have grapeseed oil, you can use olive oil. You can use almond oil. It's very acceptable. And this is my petition paper. I love my brown paper. Now don't put all of your dried stuff in here because you want to keep some of it as powder because you're going to also roll your candles into powder. And whatever's left over after that, you can put in a mason jar with a lid or a Ziploc bag, just somewhere to keep it dry, safe. Go ahead and date it so you know when you made it. Also, I like to date everything, or when it could potentially not be good anymore. So now we're going to bring our oil to life. I'm also putting the crystals in here. I do like crystal magic. And I had already cleansed this with myrrh and sage. So now we're going to charge our oil. If you guys have questions, just drop me a comment. All right, so we got our oil, we got our powder. Now what do we do? Well, now we have some more fun. This is frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, dragon's. Oh, I did the sandalwood earlier. This is dragon's blood. No, this is dragon's blood. Is it dragon's blood? Which one is this? Yep. Okay. Now we're going to etch the candles. And I'm just using my name since, my date of birth. What I want. Remove blocks. Remove blocks. I'm going to do it on each one. Some people still put keys with these. I don't. If you wanted to, you could draw a key on here or add a key. Like I said, some people, really think that the road opener and the blockbuster are the same. I mean, they use some of the same. blocks. Now, I'm not going to be too specific because I don't want to say remove blocks in sex, remove blocks in money, remove blocks in whatever. I'm just going to say remove blocks and let them remove the blocks that are there. You know what I mean? If you hold your magic accountable for just money or whatever mental blocks, and you're shortening its capabilities. You know what I mean? All right. Now for the petition. Like I said, I'm using this 2 of the seals from Solomon. If you wanted me to do videos on that, just let me know. You don't have to rip all the corners. I just do. And I guess I'm using a black pen, so I might actually need to use a bigger. Yep. Well, maybe not. All right, so you're going to write your name, date of birth, or the person you're doing this for, name, date of birth 3 times. And then you're going to turn your paper. And you're going to write remove blocks, remove blocks, remove blocks 3 times. And you're going to turn it again and write across, thank you for removing the blocks. Thank you for removing the blocks. Thank you for removing the blocks. So, here we go. There it is. Now we're going to anoint everything. So put some oil on our petition. And we fold away. Fold away. We're going to put some oil on our sigils. And then we're going to put oil on our candles. You're going to rub away. Remember, this can cause skin irritation. Just warning you. And now we're going to put our powder. Coat the candles really well with the powder as well. And really push the powder into the candles. And I'm using glass this time because glass vibrates. So does metal. But you want to amplify your works as much as you can. Also has my hair. Got my petitions, got my candles. Now we are going to light these candles. We're going to do them in a triangle. There's also magic and power in symbols. So I'm going to light my white one first. Do my black one. I'm going to do my red one. Now the red one's going to be a bear. And I know it's going to be a bear because I did not cut it properly. I didn't want the really long tapers, so I cut them And this one I kind of messed up, so it's going to be a little off balance. Perfect. Now we're going to say a little prayer, actually. Now, some of you may not believe in the Bible or believe you can do this and believe in that God, but there's a lot of power in Moses's words, Solomon, and but so we're going to use Isaiah. He gave a nice little prayer in 43:19. It says, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness, the river, and the desert." And as I say that, I'm going to also be saying, I am removing all blockages, past, present, future. And as I'm saying this, I'm going to envision like a big explosion and me walking away unharmed. Like, when the movie scenes, being victorious. And we're going to do it clockwise. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness, and rivers, and in the desert. I am removing all blockages, past, present, and future. And just keep saying it until you feel it. Now, do not burn your sigils. That would be disrespectful to the angels involved, but you can burn your petition. In your hair. All right, witches, that is it. When this is done burning, I can bury it, or better would be to just throw it away at the crossroads, near the crossroads. Almost got in trouble there. All right, witches, so when this is done burning, let it burn completely out by itself. And then you can take it to the crossroads and get rid of it. You can bury it, or you can simply throw it away. You can reuse your glass. You just have to cleanse it. And I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I will see you next Wicked Wednesday. Thanks, and bye for now.